Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to the finished tour at Finch Farm. So it's been quite a mission, but we've got the scrapyard completed now. We'll take a look around it in just a moment. I'll put a card up on the screen somewhere about nowish that'll link to the full playlist if you want to see how I've done any particular piece. But for now, if you like what you see, hit that big red button and let's get stuck in. Okay, so we'll take a look around the walls first. So, relatively simple to do, but took absolutely ages to actually pull it all together because it's quite a big area. And a huge amount of group select required for it. A certain amount of rug glitching as well. So the idea behind the build is that Abraham Finch is an avid collector of scrap. So sort of expanded on that concept and turned the small junk pile he has next to the house into a full-blown scrapyard. So there's all sorts of things that are available all around the Commonwealth, all dragged together and stripped down and turned into a, well, ultimately a business for him. So the main mods we're looking at on this one is obviously unlock settlement objects, and there's quite a few bits and pieces from custom vanilla assets as well. And partway through the build series I added a couple of new ones as well, which are Aston's junk wall pack and his junk decoration pack, which speeds up decorating the buildings quite considerably. Quite pleased on the whole with how little FPS has dropped given just how densely filled this area is. It kind of had to be with the nature of the build. It wasn't until right at the end where I put in some more of the lighting, which I've sort of scattered throughout the place, that the frame rate started to drop really. And even then, as long as I don't overdo it, it's not too bad. I had planned to turn off simple green for this one, but as soon as I did, for some weird reason, that dropped the frame rate even further, so that went back on and it behaved after that. So let's take a look around the inside. So if you look online at scrapyards in general, well, that's one of the robots guarding the place. One's called War Maiden. She's set up on the front wall there. Just a bit of storage space in the bus here. So yeah, if you have a look at photographs of scrapyards, generally what you see is piles and piles of cars, sort of like that. So that's the primary construction of the sort of walls and layout of it is based on that idea. A little Easter egg there. So we've got trucks, we've got crates on trucks, tons of stuff. The actual regular junk decoration is relatively minimal. Most of the stuff's big blocky things, which does help, but it did need a little bit of filling out with little bits and pieces here and there. So Capsule is providing a little control centre for the scrap crusher there on the left. I'll head up and take a look at one of the defensive emplacements. So almost all the defences are manned by robots here, 2 robots. This fellow's getting in the way now, and he's called Cuddles, because I felt we needed something slightly ridiculous in there. But when this place gets attacked, it's often by quite high level gunners or raiders, and often as not they're in power armour as well, so this particular corner here gets hit quite hard. There we go, that's where they drop everything into the scrap crusher. So we've got a good position for the 2 robots to take out anything that might attack the place, and it's forced to move around towards the only entrance at the front. They're under fire the whole way. There's a lot of dead space in this build because of the sort of nature of it. I've filled up little gaps and stuff like that for piles of tyres and stuff. So back around to the front here, that's the house that was originally here. Now I've converted it to a shop. In between the last episode and this one, I put a few bits and pieces in just to flesh it out a bit, pile of car chassis there and some baths and stuff. A load of junk just dropped in. This little corner here is where the provisioner and Doc Withers tend to hang out, so put a few seats around to give them somewhere to chill out a bit. This was where the initial junk pile of Abraham Finch's was, and as you can see I've expanded it quite significantly. It was rather small to begin with, being as the scale of the build, which you get a pretty good view of from up here. You really see why I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Yeah, given the scale of the build, it definitely needed expanding that. The actual sort of area is not that big, but I managed to pack in a heck of a lot of stuff. And you're sort of walling off the outside edge of it, and these junk walls are pressed right up against the edge of the build area. It does get quite significantly long distance around it, but so with things like this I've literally just taken anything and everything out of the build menu, particularly with USO and custom vanilla assets adding so much stuff, and just sort of sunk it in and piled it up just to create this massive trash heap basically. I kind of forgot to show in the last episode, I did put a little table out here for working on whatever you might want to be working on. And this is the shop area. So Abraham Finch will conclude any transactions he needs to do, and where sort of smaller objects and bits and pieces of junk are on display ready to be sold. It's a mixture of Aslam's junk decoration pack, if I can speak, and ordinary shelves that I've junk decorated myself as well. Loads and loads of signs, because Abraham Finch is obsessed with the things. A little bit of office space for him. Haven't got Curie hanging out here this time, which makes a change. So the idea with just about everything here is to look like it's all scavenged and dragged in from all over the place and just piled in together to create the overall effect. Which I think they've been quite successful in doing, to be honest. Quite proud of that. I'll try not to wrench my own arm out of his socket, patting myself on the back there. Yeah, I had all the cars and APCs and whatever else in place for quite a while, but felt it needed a little bit more going on, a little bit more of a trashy appearance, so we've got fridges and all manner of other bits and pieces just stuffed in. Not so much junk in that one as I could have done. We'll get past the razor grain that I cannot delete or repair, unfortunately. I'll have a look at the power room. This one's actually, I think, my least favourite part of the whole build. In hindsight, if I did it again, I could do a better version of it now, but it looks alright. But yeah, I think the rest of it's a little better. Biggest problem really was that I used the wrong generator. This one's got no floor attached to it, and it's added by USO. It also doesn't have the animation for the sort of crackling electricity at the top, which the one added by the Vault-Tec DLC does have. So, as I say, in hindsight there's a few things I could tweak to make it a little better, but not without tearing down this entire end of the build, so not doing that. So that settler up there is on an invisible scavenging mat with a clipboard animation, sort of set up to look like she's maintaining the generator. Quite happy with the cars on the end of the mega loader there. Quite like the idea that they get lifted up. Were intended to be lifted up and never did. Load of railings. I think those are from Parsons State Insane Asylum, added by USO. Iron railings fit the location, something a little bit different to add in there. One of my patented guard posts on the back of a truck, or a pile of trucks in this case. Pickup truck rather. That's the word I'm looking for. So it's one of the guard stations manned by Cuddles, our red robot. I had thought about filling up the train car with something, but in the end it just ended up being extra storage space, so I basically just blocked it up and it's mostly hollow in there. For some reason, a couple of bits and pieces in this build have disappeared, leaving other things floating, like a coffee machine. And I've absolutely no idea why, because it wasn't floating when I put it there. It was kind of frustrating. So we had a little shed that was supposed to have tools in it, but for some reason they didn't want to play ball. We're going to sit in that bin at the back. There's some fertiliser in there for now. There's a little food plot down here. There's a few more bits and pieces in other areas, but that's the main area. So we'll come around this side and take a look at the robot workshop. And the main crafting area as well on the side here. Got Abigail Finch set up as a farmer. She's working the mute fruit down there. She has a strange habit of appearing underneath this patch of floor, just sort of standing inside it all. You can just about see her in the bottom there. Which is a bit of a contrast to the usual state of affairs where they appear on the roof. She's underneath the floor this time. Obviously just enough room under there to fit. So this is one of the earlier parts of the build. I'm really happy with the look of it. Junk decorations are all done manually using make static, so it's just generically placed on the shelves and then altered to be a static object rather than something you can just knock off. One of my new favourite mods, that I think. Makes a junk decoration a lot more customisable and a lot easier to do. So the staircase has been a bit of a nightmare to put in. Just by the time I wanted to build it, I didn't have the space. Hence why it's on top of the house. And I think the settlers will now use it and go all the way from top to bottom. And I'm not 100%, I haven't actually seen them doing it. I've tweaked the bottom set of stairs to get onto the roof of the house because that was where they were having problems. So hopefully that'll be a bit better now. It looks like a suitably trashy environment from up here. We'll move on to the overpass. So take a look at the motel in just a moment. This truck's a new addition. I wanted something that'd fill up the space a little bit more and look like it belonged up here. There was a car there. I did actually think about having something sort of hanging off, looking like it was about to go over the edge, but I figured if they're going to live down below there, they'd, especially as there's the ladder up here, they'd probably have found a way to drag it back on so it didn't go plunging through the roof of their house. Or shop as it is now. So this is our little Minuteman outpost. So we've got the recruitment beacon up here. Presumably doubling up as a way rather to communicate with the castle. I eventually get around to building that place up. It's a very small little space, just somewhere for a couple of Minutemen to be stationed, and gives them the opportunity to keep an eye out on one of the more dangerous corners of the Commonwealth around here. So this is quite heavily Aslam's junk decoration pack. This is the first thing I think I did just after I'd installed it. I really like the use of space in here. It's a very confined little area. It works well. It's my favourite section of the build, to be honest. Nice little armoury there. A little bit of crafting space. I'll head up the lookout tower. See, that area there tends to get sentry bots and raiders and all sorts of things. And random spawn point down there as well. So you get a lot of trouble coming from that way. And just over there is Hub City Auto Wreckers, I believe it's called. That's usually occupied by gunners, sometimes by raiders. We've cleared it out once already. And seemed like a sensible place to position a sniper, so both of these guys are equipped with Gauss rifles. Fully upgraded, so they can deal with any trouble before it arises. And we'll have a look around the motel. So it's quite a big area, quite a big trading point for scrap. It's the intention anyway. It seems likely that people might need to stay over before they make a return journey, especially as travelling in the Commonwealth is not particularly easy. So the motel gives them somewhere to stay. This is the nearest thing to a family room they have. It's not a great deal of room, but there's more than in any of the others. A couple of improvised beds there, a few bits and pieces. Random mannequin for some unknown reason. I put it there and I even don't know where it's there. Looks very miserable though. I was determined to get a double bed in here somewhere. It was an absolute nightmare to do. Eventually crammed it in there. You can just about get around it as well. The idea with the motel here was to use different structures and different pre-existing things to make different rooms out of. So you've got the container back there, bus here, and that piece of boat cabin as well. And now that he's back home safe and sound, Jake Finch is running the bar up here. Fortunately, those barrels are exactly the right height for the vendor rug, so the animation works quite well. This is the sort of area where I'd imagine caravan guards and the like would end up staying. Little seating area. And perhaps my favourite feature of the whole motel here is the staircase we're just about to have a look at. It's relatively simple to do. Utterly dangerous, but I do like the effect for some reason. It works quite well. Another room up there, little seating area. I don't imagine settlers will path up the cinder block staircase there, but it does sort of work. And off to this crow's nest bedroom. So, a few signs to warn of the hole there that I never got around to blocking up. I've slightly expanded the house a little here. This is the Finch's new place. Put a porch on the front. It was looking rather boxy before. Needed to break the lines up a little bit. That worked quite well for that. So it's vault pieces that they've acquired somewhere. As I said in the building video for this section, there's a few vaults still under construction in the Commonwealth, so maybe there's a few pieces that are floating around that they've been able to get their hands on, especially as it's more or less flat pack anyway. There's some overseer's quarters for a living room, which I've never seen anybody use yet, which is quite sad. I've absolutely no idea how he got up here. There's no reason for him to be up here either. There's no guard post or anything for him. He's just bizarrely teleported up here for some reason. So this is the younger to Finch's bedroom. Obviously got a lot of stuff carried over from when they were considerably younger, but apparently they're still in the same old room, so slightly better than all of them sleeping in the same room like they were in the house downstairs though. Here we have a little patio for them, garden area. The tyres with plants in are added by Aslam's mod. The rest of it's USO. And the flowers that are in the tyres are also USO as well. We'll take a look around Abraham and Abigail's room. They're considerably more grown up, a lot tidier. A few bits and pieces of Abraham Finch is there. we'll make our way downstairs again. So, right by the lift here, which is another modded edition. Although it doesn't actually need any power, I felt it not having anything there left it looking a little incomplete. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, so put a little generator there and a few bits and pieces to keep the weather off of it. I did want to put a tent over it, but they're either far too big or far too small, so I improvised. And that is our little scrapyard. So the next one will be a standalone build, I think, and then after that we'll have to decide where we're going to go next. But for now, thank you very much for watching as always. If you enjoyed it, do hit those buttons for me, it's always very much appreciated. And if you'd like to keep up with everything going on the channel, you can find me on Twitter and Facebook at /DarthXionGames. Links are down below in the description, and I will be speaking to you very, very soon. Thank you very much.